Right now it's in a light storm. I want to do a little lesson about identifying storms, and I want to use the example of Jonah. It's a couple of different places we can get some storms from, but I want to talk about Jonah's storm in particular, that we can glean from to try to get some procedures, some things that we can do once we in the midst of a storm, once we identify the storm and what kind of storm it is. And that's the first thing, identifying the storm. But most of us know the story of Jonah. He's fleeing his purpose. He's fleeing his calling. He's going outside of the will of God, and he gets on this merchant vessel, on this boat. They go open seas. Now, these people on this boat, they are seamen. They are experienced seamen. They know how to navigate the open seas. They know how to navigate. They've been through many storms. These seamen get into a storm, and one of the first things they do is try to lighten the load. They try to toss certain things over. They start trying to lighten the vessel so that they can navigate a little better in the midst of this storm. Sometimes you're going to have to evaluate yourself and see, what things you need to shed off. What things or what people you need to let go so that you can lighten the load to get through this storm. Ain't nothing like you ain't nothing worse than you going through a storm, you dragging other people in it. You done drug 3-4 other people in the midst of the storm. Sometimes you may have to let go so you can navigate this storm. Give me a second. Sometimes you may have to put some people on pause. Hey, wait a minute. Give me a few days. Let me navigate this thing. Let me get this thing back under control. Let me get this thing back aligned with the will of God. Because ultimately, that's what this whole Jonah situation is. And this storm is about. It's about getting Jonah back rightly aligned with the will of God. So they're trying to navigate this vessel and navigate this thing back unto obedience of the Lord. And that's what your second thing you're going to have to do. You need to, after you done shed and mortified yourself and seen what kind of lust and what kind of sins and iniquities that you need to shed off, or what kind of people that's around you that have these sins and iniquities, that may have certain spirits around you, you may need to shed off. You need to make sure that you rightly align with the will. You need to be making sure that you're rightly aligned, that you haven't went off of the navigational system. Jonah was off of the navigational system. He done went on his own path. He just ain't finna follow the directions. And so we have to understand that once you identify this storm as it's not no regular storm, that this is some spiritual storm, you're going to have to get back rightly aligned with the word. And final, once they realize that this was a spiritual storm, this ain't no regular storm, sir. This ain't no regular storm. He told them, man, y'all start casting lots. You start, what deity you worship? What deity you worship? What do you worship? And pray to your deities. You need to evaluate your household. You need to evaluate those that are around you, some of your loved ones, some of the closest people around you, and make sure that they're not worshiping some other deities. I remember this sister, she shared with me that her son had shot himself in the foot with an assault rifle, with an AK. He was in the hospital. She went cleaning his room up. And, of course, they in the midst of a storm. She cleaning his room, find this a little shrine behind the door with the little candles lit up. He into Ephiism. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know what Ephi was. But your kids can get involved with this stuff because, this stuff was trending a few years ago. I don't know how big it is now, but, but you need to watch your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Watch your rib. Watch your husband. Some of these sisters can be entertaining some of these witches on TikTok. Getting free tarot card readings. Getting involved in that mess, and a storm ends up coming. You trying to figure out where the storm at. Man, check their history, man. Check their history, or just let it be known. Like, hey, man, if you doing any foolishness, dealing with some other deities, doing anything that's outside of this text, you need to get away from that. We need to get through this storm. You need to get away from that. That may be causing this storm that we in. So those merchants made sure, hey, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then once they found the corporate, who was Jonah like, man, hey, man, just gonna throw me off the boat, man. And I was telling that sister, man, if that brother, if your son don't, you know, if he don't want to be obedient and he want to sit up there, you know, throw that stuff away, get it up out of the house and let him know, hey, man, you can't be in this house worshiping some darn Ephah. You want to do that, man, you got to get your own spot. You got to get your own spot. Because you can't be in here, you know, worshiping in the midst of idolatry, worshiping some other deity, bringing on these storms, causing these problems. You causing problems, sir. You causing problems, sir. And then pray for them before you throw them out. That's what they did. I was trying to, so I thought you got to pray for these folks before you let them go. Pray for them. But I just wanted to share that, man. I pray this thing was edifying. You know, identifying the storm, lightening the load, making sure that you're rightly aligned with the word, getting yourself back into align with his purpose, get that vessel so you can get directed out of that storm, and then evaluating everyone around you, making sure that nobody's worshiping any other deities, that they're only worshiping the one true God, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, through his son, the Hamashiach, some call Yahushua, we mostly know as Jesus Christ. Make sure that they're rightly aligned with that word, that they're not out here doing no foolishness. And if you gotta toss them out, man, you know, pray for them. You know what I'm saying? So keep me in prayer. I keep y'all in prayer. Shalom. Again, pray this thing was edifying. Be blessed.